Welcome to Shadow Case Files, where a simple airplane seat number hides a pattern of deaths no one can explain. Tonight, we uncover the chilling mystery of Seat 29E and why some believe it was never just a seat at all. The first sign that something was wrong was not a scream, it was silence. At 32,000 feet above the ground, in the dark cabin of a late-night flight from New York City to Los Angeles, most passengers were asleep. The only sounds were the low hum of the engines and the soft rustle of blankets. Then, without warning, a man in seat 29E stopped breathing. His name was Daniel Harper, 38 years old, fit, healthy, a businessman with no history of illness. He had boarded the plane calm and focused, speaking briefly to a flight attendant before settling into the middle seat in row 29. Nothing about him seemed unusual. About 3 hours into the flight, the passenger beside him noticed something strange. Daniel wasn't moving. His head had tilted slightly to one side, his eyes half open, fixed on nothing. At first, it looked like sleep, but then came the uneasy feeling, the kind that crawls up your spine before your mind understands why. A flight attendant tried to wake him. No response. She checked his pulse. Nothing. Panic spread quietly through the cabin. The captain announced an emergency diversion to Denver. Oxygen masks were prepared. A doctor on board attempted CPR in the narrow aisle while stunned passengers watched in frozen silence. But Daniel Harper never came back. When the plane landed, paramedics rushed him away. The official report would later say there were no visible injuries, no signs of choking, no evidence of a heart attack. Toxicology tests found nothing unusual. His lungs were clear. His heart was strong. It was as if his body had simply switched off. News of the unexplained death made brief headlines. Most people forgot about it within days. Until 2 months later, on the same aircraft, another passenger assigned to seat 29E collapsed mid-flight. Same row, same position, same sudden, silent end. Flight attendants began whispering among themselves. Some quietly asked to be reassigned. A few frequent flyers started checking seat maps before booking. Because now, it wasn't just a tragic accident. It was a pattern. And somewhere in the back of that aircraft, in the middle seat of row 29, something waited, unseen, untouched, and unexplained. The question no one could answer was simple. What was happening in seat 29E? The audio file began with silence, and then the clicking started. Mia Torres pressed her headphones tighter against her ears, replaying the recording for the 4th time. It was faint, precise, a soft mechanical tick, 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 repeating at steady intervals. She had not heard it during the flight. No one had. 3 days earlier, Mia had boarded a flight to Chicago with a decision that now felt heavier than brave. At 21, she was ambitious and stubborn, a journalism student obsessed with unanswered questions. When she read about the deaths linked to seat 29E, she didn't feel fear, she felt curiosity. She requested the seat herself. Before takeoff, she slipped a small voice recorder into the seat pocket in front of her. If something was happening in that row, she wanted proof. She spent the flight alert, studying every vibration of the aircraft, every flicker of the overhead lights, but nothing unusual happened. No dizziness, no strange smell, no sudden pain. She landed safely. For a brief moment, she felt disappointed. Until she listened to the recording. At exactly 2 hours and 17 minutes into the flight, the soft clicking began. It lasted for 7 full minutes. It was not part of the engine noise. It was closer, sharper, intentional. Mia uploaded a short video explaining her findings. She didn't accuse anyone. She simply asked questions. The internet exploded. Thousands of comments flooded in. Some called it a coincidence. Others claimed it was proof of a hidden device beneath the seat. The story spread faster than she expected. News blogs picked it up. Aviation forums began analyzing the sound pattern frame by frame. Then, something changed. Mia told a friend she felt like she was being watched. She received emails with no sender name, blank messages, one text that simply read, "Delete it." She refused. 2 nights later, neighbors reported a loud thud from her apartment. By morning, police found her unresponsive on the floor. There were no signs of forced entry, no struggle, no visible injury. Cause of death? Sudden respiratory failure. Her laptop was gone, the voice recorder was missing, and the video she had uploaded? It had vanished from the internet, as if it had never existed. The question was no longer whether Seat 29E was dangerous. The question was, who was trying so hard to silence anyone who talked about it?
The email arrived at 2:13 a.m. No subject line, no signature, just one sentence. Look beneath the seat. The investigative reporter who received it had been following the strange deaths for months. Most tips were useless: conspiracy theories, anonymous accusations, wild guesses. But this message felt different. Attached was a single image, a blurry photo of exposed wiring under an airplane seat. The sender identified himself only as Victor Lang, a former aircraft systems engineer. They agreed to meet in a quiet diner near the airport. Victor looked exhausted, constantly scanning the windows as if expecting someone to be watching. His hands trembled as he stirred his coffee. He claimed the aircraft linked to Seat 29E had once been leased to a private defense contractor before entering commercial service. During that time, he said specialized equipment had been installed for undisclosed projects. When the plane was later sold, most of the hardware was removed. Most. Victor believed something had been left behind, something small hidden beneath Seat 29E. He described a compact module, no larger than a paperback book, fitted inside the seat structure. It was not part of the entertainment system, not connected to passenger lighting. It had its own independent power source. "What did it do?" the reporter asked. Victor hesitated. "I was never told," he said quietly, "but it wasn't for comfort." Days after that meeting, Victor stopped answering calls. His phone was disconnected. His apartment was empty. No forwarding address, no public record of travel. It was as if he had stepped out of existence. Then another voice came forward. A maintenance technician from Atlanta contacted the newsroom. During a routine inspection of the same aircraft, he claimed he noticed unusual wiring under Seat 29E, thin cables that didn't match the manufacturer's design schematics. He reported it to his supervisor. Within a week, he was dismissed for violating inspection protocol. When reporters requested maintenance logs, the airline stated that Seat 29E had recently been replaced as part of standard cabin refurbishment. No technical explanation, no further comment. And just like that, the physical evidence was gone. The aircraft continued flying. Passengers continued booking seats. But one question now hung heavier than ever. If there was nothing hidden beneath Seat 29E, why was everyone who looked too closely suddenly disappearing?
The pattern did not begin with the seat number. It began with the names. Sarah Klein spread photographs across her apartment floor, each one showing a different victim connected to seat 29E. Different ages, different careers, different cities. At first glance, they had nothing in common, but Sarah was not looking at their faces. She was studying timelines. She was a data analyst, trained to see connections hidden inside noise, and the deeper she searched, the more uneasy she became. Daniel Harper had been preparing legal documents against a powerful manufacturing firm. The second victim had worked as a financial auditor involved in an internal fraud review. The third had been a software engineer caught in a high-stakes patent dispute. Mia Torres had been investigating aviation contracts before her sudden death. Every single one of them was weeks away from exposing something. Sarah pinned a calendar to the wall. Each death occurred shortly before a critical court date, testimony, or publication. The timing was precise, almost surgical. It was no longer about bad luck. It was selection. Late one night, Sarah replayed the faint clicking sound recovered from Mia's recording, a copy she had managed to obtain before it disappeared. She slowed it down, enhanced it. The rhythm was not random. It pulsed in structured intervals, like coded signals. Her theory began forming quietly in her mind. What if seat 29E was not cursed? What if it was engineered? She hypothesized that a micro-device could have been embedded beneath the seat frame, something capable of releasing an undetectable airborne agent, colorless, odorless, fast-acting, triggered remotely at a specific altitude or time marker. If true, the seat was not random. It was controlled. Sarah drafted a report outlining her findings. She didn't accuse anyone directly. She simply presented patterns, probabilities, and statistical anomalies that were too sharp to ignore. The next morning, she found a single email waiting in her inbox. No sender name, no subject, just 5 words. Stop looking at 29E. Her hands froze over the keyboard. For the first time, the investigation felt personal. That evening, she left her apartment to clear her head. Security cameras later captured her car driving toward a quiet highway outside Dallas. The vehicle was found 2 days later, empty. No signs of struggle, no trace of Sarah Klein. Her unfinished report remained open on her computer, the cursor blinking beside a final line. This is not an accident. And now, the question had changed once again. If seat 29E was being used to eliminate specific targets, who was choosing the names? The aircraft was gone, dismantled, scrapped, officially removed from service. Yet the deaths continued. In 2015, a passenger collapsed mid-flight on a route from Seattle to Miami. Different airline, different plane model, different crew. The cause of death was once again sudden respiratory failure. No toxins detected, no prior illness. The assigned seat, 29E. A month later, another case surfaced on a transatlantic flight departing London. Same pattern, same silence, same seat number. Investigators were confused. The original aircraft tied to the earlier incidents no longer existed. If there had been a device hidden beneath that seat, it was destroyed with the plane. So how was 29E still claiming lives? A retired federal investigator who had quietly reviewed the earlier files decided to revisit the case. He requested flight manifests, seating charts, and booking data from multiple airlines. What he discovered unsettled him more than any hidden hardware could. Seat numbers are not fixed across aircraft models. Row placements shift, cabin layouts differ. On some planes, 29E sits near the wing, on others closer to the rear galley. In a few configurations, row 29 doesn't even exist. Yet the victims were always assigned to 29E. The investigators studied the booking logs closely. In each case, the seat assignment had been finalized shortly before departure. In some instances, passengers had originally selected different seats. The system reassigned them automatically. He began to suspect something far more disturbing than a physical device. What if 29E was never about the seat itself? What if it was a digital marker inside the reservation system, a coded label, a way to flag specific passengers and ensure they were placed in a predictable, controlled location within the cabin? If someone had access to airline booking databases, they wouldn't need to hide a device in a single aircraft. They could adapt, adjust, follow the target anywhere. The investigator compiled his findings into a confidential report. It raised more questions than answers. The document was quietly sealed. No public explanation was ever given. Today, airlines insist there is no connection, no pattern, no threat. But occasionally, leaked seat maps appear online, and sometimes on certain flights, row 29 skips from D to F, no 29E, as if the system itself is deciding when that seat should or should not exist.
If this mystery gave you chills, don't let it end here. Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon to join Shadow Case Files, and share this case with someone who dares to uncover the truth.